Okay, everyone, welcome to today's show. I have titled today's show The Time Bomb because we're going to try and focus on one of the most important factors when investing. Yeah, I think one of the most least discussed, and that, of course, is time. And every investment and the outcome of that investment is influenced by time. Do you know, whether it's the longer the money remains invested in something, the greater the opportunity for growth over that time and recovery, and of course, the all important factor of compounding over time. And that's something we'll talk about. I've split into sections today, and compound is one of them. So, when you think about time, a lot of people, when they think about investing, they think about money. But time, on the other hand, unlike money, do you know, time cannot be earned back. Money, you could earn it back, and as long as you apply yourself. Time, on the other hand, once it's passed, it's gone. So you really need to utilize your time the best you can. Now, I know you do consider yourself a self-proclaimed time lord, Jim, and I would tend to agree with you there because you have got a way of utilizing time and maximizing it to the best of your ability. But it's not an easy thing to do, is it?
It doesn't seem the day because I'm sitting in my work clothes. What's going on here? What's going on? It's like I am not meant to be in work clothes. There's something going wrong here. It's like, but I choose to be in work clothes, I suppose.
You're back on the tools.
Yeah, I'm just stepping in because somebody's had an accident. You know, Perry's had an accident. Yeah. Fair enough. I'm stepping in and making sure everything's all right, and everything normal service will resume as quickly as possible, I suppose. Yeah. Time Lord, Time Bomb. This was interesting because you gave me this title about the Time Bomb, and I thought, I wonder if anybody's actually going to see this. Just with the very fact that you used the B word.
I did wonder about the word thing, but I thought, you know, let's try and catch people's attention.
We'll be coming up in the CIA's radar or something for talking about this word. It's like, oh my God, it's like we'll be banned from traveling to America and stuff. As a result of just using that word. It's like, who are these people? Yeah, okay, you're absolutely right. I think time is one of the most valuable assets ever. It is, and it is an asset. It is a plus. It is probably the most, to me, it's the most valued in the world. There can be nothing that is more valuable than time. And let me challenge anybody tuning in today about that. It's like sitting, if you don't agree with me, let me challenge your thoughts on this.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if you're lying on your deathbed. What is the one thing you wish you're going to have, apart from your health, is what?
It's time. But then you say apart from your health, but if you've got good health, it gives you more time.
Yeah, but just in case some smart arse out there is going to say, oh, but my health, it's like, all right, because you just didn't want to say and agree with me, it's time. It clearly is time. It is the most valuable, and I would call it, do we call it a commodity? I don't know.
Yeah,
you can, because you trade time, don't you? You trade time for money, as most people do in a job. But it is that position. It is a powerful force. And investing, you've actually said that right here, and to wait on investing. So if you wait till tomorrow, you've lost the value of compounding from today. If you wait till next week to do this, you've lost the compounding for that week. And I tell you what, when you get to the end of your journey, I'll leave this with you. Work out how much that week is actually going to cost you. Because when you get to the end of your compounding journey, think about this way, Richard. If you had time and you eventually, we've all got finite time. It's like you're not immortal. You will die at some point in time. But the time that you're wasting right now, probably some people will go, God, I'm wasting listening to them. Listen to this guy drone on. But it's an important lesson. The time that you're spending right now, or you've just spent in the last week, and you maybe think you've not accomplished anything, think about that time when you're lying on your deathbed and how valuable that would be to you right there and then. it would be everything, wouldn't it? So it's not really that much value to you now, but later on, it will be. And that's what the whole point of compounding is. The sooner you start in compounding wealth, the more valuable it comes towards the end. This is where I used to go back to Standard Life. When I go back to Standard Life, I used to calculate the surrender values in the actuary department when I was with Standard Life for a wee while. So I used to calculate the surrender values in people's policies. And then what I would get was, what's it worth? And it was like maybe a year before it was due to be cashed. And we used to write back to them and say, well, your policy is worth like £20,000. But we used to tell them, if you wait another year, it'll be worth 30 grand. So you're losing 10 grand cashing it in now. And some people would go, oh, just cash it now. Sorry, what? You're losing 50% in return because of the compounding wealth and the bonuses you would get waiting another year. Wait another year. And then sometimes they definitely want to cash it. So we would give them another alternative where they could sell that policy to a third-party person who would use it and have to pay capital gains on it, obviously, for that. So they would sell it at, like a brokerage, like they would maybe sell it for 24,000. So they'll get another 4 grand, and the other person would get an instant 6 grand just for waiting a year. So that's what we used to do at Standard Life. But think about it like that. That's what it's like when you get to the end of whatever it is you're trying to achieve, and then you pull up short before you get it. Maybe try to get to the finish line when you're running as well. Imagine running 90 meters and then just no running the 100 meters. Did you actually win?
Short,
yeah. Did you win? No, you didn't, because you never crossed the line for 10 meters. But I ran 90 meters. It doesn't matter. It makes no difference. You didn't complete the other 10 meters. There was no point. You've not got the result you wanted. You've not finished.
Yeah, and that's where, when you're saying, we're obviously saying about how costly waiting can be, and not thinking about the true benefits of compounding over that time, and think people might put off and think, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. When you get to a certain point, and some people don't have tomorrow, and the true cost of that one day, when you look at it and the compounding effect through the whole length of what your journey is or could have been, that day could be total to quite a lot.
Okay, let me then give you a challenge then. Tell me why, Richard, time sits at the centre of every successful investment strategy.
Well, it's as you were demonstrating there, it is one of the greatest investment assets. Do you know what? Investors have the same access to time, no matter what their background is, what their income is, do you know, or their experience. People think they need to be, exponentially experienced in investing and have a lot of money backing them. But really, it's not. If you could just implement small things over a period of time and let it compound, time's the real, the real factor there, not your experience or the money you've got to put in the first instance.
That's kind of like looking about, if you plant the seed, you have to actually wait for all that time, a certain amount of time, in order to get get the fruit from the tree. So you've got to wait the 2 or 3 years. If you don't wait the 2 or 3 years, you'll not get anything. So you're absolutely right. Time is the thing that you need to focus on the most.
And I think as well, I know as well, a lot of investors concentrate a lot of their time thinking about, the returns or the market or their actual investment product, whatever that is, which is all important, obviously, but they don't think about the time factor and how much of an influence that's going to have. People could pick a really good property investment, for example, but think, I'm just going to do it for a couple of years. But then you're not going to get the same benefit as if you do it for 10 years or 20 years.
Yeah.
The capital appreciation, the cash flow throughout that period of time. I've done a quick vlog on that today, actually. I just like over decades as opposed to 1 or 2 years.
And yet, most conversations focus on money.
Mm-hmm.
And money alone does not create wealth. I'll say that again. When you think about that, that's so powerful to understand that. Most discussions about investing focus on the lack of money. It's the lack of it, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But yet the money alone doesn't actually create the wealth. It's the skill and expertise, but more importantly, the time it passes in between for it to compound. Wealth is created when money has sufficient time to grow.
Yeah, it's just like your analogy with the seed to the apple tree, and then having lots of fruit at the end. It needs time.
So an investor who starts earlier often than we've concluded then has significant advantage over someone who starts actually later on, even if the later investor contributes more money. This is why you get to the end of your pension entitlement and somebody tells you as a financial advisor when you're 55, it's like, if you're wanting to retire at 65, you're going to have to put like £3,000 in a month. Sorry? I only get £2,000 for my salary. It's like, how can I put £3,000 in? That's it. That's literally impossible. It's like, well, you've waited too long to actually contribute the main amount.
I opened a Standard Life pension a couple of years back, and when I look at what I need to put into it, it's a lot more than if I'd started it 10 years ago.
Yeah, and it kind of works on the same principle. And I'll digress when you say that. It's like when you have health insurance. They'll insure you from the very beginning at a very low amount and let it compound all the way through, getting the same amount of money all the way through. They don't compound it, obviously, but they'll keep the same amount all the way through. And the devaluation and inflation brings that money down to you in terms of buying power, but you're getting it at a cheaper price. Whereas if you start later on, they charge you a lot more because there's more risk involved. Kind of like compounding and time, waiting. So the earlier, the better, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
This primarily comes down to time allows investments to benefit from growth, recovery, and compounding over extended periods. That's the recovery one's the most important one about time, because it smooths everything out. So when you take a hit to a market position, where you've got it in stocks and shares, then it has time to recover, because it's maybe nothing to do with the industry itself. It's maybe something at that time, like, for example, a war in the Middle East, or tariffs. God, it seems to be going on. It seems to be just coming from one country, doesn't it? God, we're really going to have it difficult to get an ESTA for the next trip to America. Kind of implying it's coming from one country, it's causing the problem, everybody's problems economically. But compounding over extended periods, isn't it?
Yeah, but like you say, things like war and these tariffs and all the different factors that could have an effect on your investments over a longer period of time, they'll recover from that.
What is the key points we've got to remember, though?
The key point here is that we're talking about time, and time ultimately cannot be replaced. As you said, Jim, starting earlier creates a lot more opportunities, and time and money work together ultimately to create wealth. Not money, wealth.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so the key takeaway with that is then the value of an investment is influenced not only by how much is invested, but by how long it actually remains invested.
Yeah. Yeah, time is so valuable.
Let me ask you this then. Okay, and this is, you've almost hit the nail on the head there. And let me just extend that a wee bit more then. I'll ask you this question. If time is invaluable, why do so many people delay investing then?
See, there's a real danger in waiting and delaying with investment, and people fall in that trap all the time. And one of the most common investment decisions isn't really a decision at all. It's waiting, and people wait quite a lot. A lot of people postpone their actions while they're waiting, possibly on the market to shift to a better market, looking for lower interest rates. It's something that's going to give them, in their mind, greater certainty and more confidence to invest, and that could be quite detrimental, that waiting.
But then the risk you apply, if the risk is higher, normally the return is going to be greater, or the potential of return is going to be greater. Let's just say it's potential, because investments can go down as well as up. But I think that's what it is, isn't it? It's if the risk is higher. So when you talked about you're talking about certainty and confidence. that then implies it's like you may as well just stick your money in an ISA. For the bank, it has a reasonable interest rate. Well, if you can call 5% reasonable, it's like that's if you're wanting certainty and you're wanting definite confidence and guaranteed. That's probably it, really. So then we really say that risk rewards the active investor, I suppose, or even the passive investor, because risk can be destabilized, can't it, over time? It can be mitigated over time as well by time itself and waiting and actually just keep constantly. I mean, Buffett talks about this all the time. The Oracle of Omaha. Warren Buffett talks about this, about the fact that it's the smoothing effect of just investing the same amount every single time, irrespective of where the market is at that point in time. Over time, as the time elapses over the long term, it then gets dissipated and it ends up becoming more or less a straight line. If you look at that in isolation, an example of that is look at house prices. If you take house prices in the graph for house prices or even rents at a certain point in time, a short period, maybe 5 years, you'll see it going up and down like that, possibly. Okay. If you take it the credit crunch, actually, before and after the 5 year period with the credit crunch in the middle, you'll see the house prices going and then going boom, and then you see them going up again a wee bit more after that for the 5 year period. But if you look over a 20-year period, it's like that thing. It's like the credit crunch is just a wee blip in the whole scope of things. And I think that's what it does. Time does to investing. It smooths it all out.
Yeah, so that snapshot of that time was, it looks really prolific, but if you stretch it out over such a big time, it's really insignificant to your investment over a longer period, as long as you've got the ability to weigh it out that long.
So does this mean then every period in history has presented reasons to delay investment decisions? Economic concerns, political events, and market volatility have always existed, really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you'll stand testament. I mean, Jim, the last 30 odd years, you've probably seen all these things come and go continually over the years. And it just happens throughout the years, and it will continue to do that. There's never going to be this, perfect sweet spot time to do things and waiting for this. This is the perfect time to invest. You need to just look for the opportunities along the way. And sometimes ride out the storm.
Yeah, sometimes I think I see it, but I'm not entirely convinced. But even if I see it, I actually just wait because I kind of think to myself, "Can I take a hit?" No, really. So then I'll not do it because of that. I think for me personally, playing the downside is the most important way to look at it, and I think it's most fund or investors actually win at the end. Actually, they don't actually take their gains. They actually minimize their losses. If that makes sense. What's the key point?
Yeah, no, that does make sense.
What is the key point about the danger of waiting?
So I think the certainty thing, I mean, it rarely arrives. This time and investors looking for this ultimate certainty for investment, the best time to invest, it rarely arrives. The waiting time for that really then reduces the time available for you to be growing your investments. And that ultimately, your opportunity cost for that time waiting is often far overlooked by people who just, they're holding back, and they're not weighing up the true opportunity cost that they could have if they'd already invested last year rather than waiting all this time. Yeah. It could have compounded over a year, where I'd be further along than where I am standing now.
But that also comes into play when we did that analogy or that example about me buying a Lamborghini Huracan at 170 grand and then buying a house instead and renting it as an investment. And we had worked out over a 20-year period, this was the time or the opportunity cost it would be to buy the Huracan. What you've just given up over a 20-year period is the opportunity to invest 178,000 and actually make 2 million over 20 years, as opposed to a Huracan, which would actually cost you best part of, I don't know, over 20 years. How much would that cost you? I mean, would you keep it for 20 years? You'd probably have to buy another one.
Yeah.
So then it would end up costing you even more on top of that. So the opportunity you've lost is the 2 million gain that you would have made by actually not buying the Huracan in the first place. And that's time. It makes that difference. If you look at it in isolation, oh, you bought a house, you're making, I don't know, 10 grand a year out of the rent. It's like, that's nothing to write home about. It's like, I tell you what, I'll buy the Huracan, I'll have a great time, because 10 grand's nothing in the scope of things. But then when you compound it over time, then you go, wait a minute. It's like, that's a different story.
And if you could multiply that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So the key statement out of this then is perfect conditions rarely exist, I would say. Investment decisions are usually made in environments of uncertainty.
That's where the opportunity is, yeah.
The blood on the streets. It's like, or if somebody's needing a quick exit, it's like they've left themselves in a position that they're exposed, and it's like, oh my God, they're going to lose the shirt off their back. And an angel investor can come in like me and possibly just swoop up that asset base from them at an advantageous price. It works for them, by the way, because I'm the only one on the block at that point in time, and then take advantage of that existing that improvement over time and compounding of the asset base and the wealth associated with it.
Yeah, and when we talk about waiting, just to say about compounding, that's one of the reasons that waiting can be so costly, because you reduce that power of compounding. And I was want to talk about the ultimately the compounding effect, because compounding really is one of the, if not the most powerful forces in investing. Because but compounding does require time, but it's also one of the easiest factors that are underestimated. And that's why,
isn't it? We sit and look at our watch, and we sit and look at our clock, and we think we've got all the time in the world, but you don't realise that the time is passing, and every time it passes, you're missing that opportunity for that return on investment that you could have had. It's I'm trying to think of a really good principle, a really good analogy for that. Is it the fact that you maybe have a windfall somehow from somewhere. You maybe inherited money or something like that, or you've maybe won. Some people win the lottery, and then they just do nothing with it, and it sits in the bank. Or you have something sitting, it's worth something. You know, like
an asset of some sort.
Aye, a rare painting work of art, a rare piece of
memorabilia or something,
memorabilia or something like that. And you kind of think to yourself, oh, that's going to be worth, and that's going to make me a lot more money, and it's going to go up. And it's like, at that point in time, it's in vogue. In other words, everybody wants it. In 2 years' time, it'll probably won't be. Classic cars is a classic example of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Excuse the pun. Classic cars, classic example. I'm here all day. Try the fish. So classic cars are a classic example of that, aren't they? Because sometime when, for example, when something happens and suddenly that car becomes the most desirable car that everybody wants. Look at the DBs in Aston Martin.
Yeah.
I think it's the DB7 or something like that. Maybe it is the Bond car. I mean, God Almighty, that is some car. But it's only the fact that it's associated so much with these classic films. So when a Bond film comes about and it's a really good one, it's kind of got everybody G'd up again.
It's like you say, it's in vogue.
Yeah, I must have it.
Because it used to be the Vanquish.
Yeah, whereas if it disappears and it's out of sight for quite a long time, then it's not as desirable in a lot of people's minds. So it's the demand you create at that time as well, which makes things like that, what we call, I think they call them chattels in taxation, more valuable because of something that happens at that time. A famous pop star passes away. Yeah. Then all of a sudden they go to number one. It's like, really? Could have no got? They've been trying to get to number one
while they were here and enjoy it.
And when they pass away, finally they're not here to celebrate it, and then you send them to number one. because everybody thinks they're going to make a killing out of their killing, passing away. Everybody,
Filler in the day.
we're on the ball today, and everybody thinks they're going to make something out of that, and then they run out and buy it, and then that's when the time that you should sell. For that very reason, when everybody is greedy, that's when you sell. When everybody is fearful, that's probably when you start buying, because it'll come round again. There'll be a resurgence. Look how many times look how many times Elvis has gone to number one.
Yeah.
And he's not here anymore, and he still goes to number one. So it kind of tells you the whole background of that. So you're right. It is it's the easiest one thing to underestimate, I would say. So when compounding occurs when investments returns generate additional revenues over time. Okay, so that's what compounding happens. Rather than growing in a straight line, investments
like you said,
they can go up and down, they can increase, they can gain. The gains can be reinvested. I talked to somebody today about this. Actually, I said to them, it says that, you've got your portfolio, the rents and everything like that. Yeah, the rents just go back in. They just keep getting reinvested. It's like, is there any point where you're going to take anything out? And I'm like, I'm not really sure. I just like that.
We spoke about that. I mean, you did speak about that a couple of weeks ago. Like, when will I ever maybe think about doing that?
Yeah, it's like, I'm not really sure. I just like doing it. It's like I've got enough, and I just like doing that and compounding it over time. So I don't know. But here's the key here, though. The impact of compounding is often modest in the very beginning. This is what I talk about. When you're investing in property and you start from scratch and you buy your first property, you get the returns from the property, and it takes about 5 years to get another property with the same money you've actually making out the first property. But then after 5 years, you can get another property. So you've got 2 properties. So it then takes you about 3 years to get another property. And then when you get that property, you've got 3 properties. Then it takes you then about 1.5 years to get another property. And then when you get that property, then it takes you at least, probably 1 year to get another property. And the next minute, when you're at 10 years, you're acquiring a property every single year. When you're at 15 years, you're acquiring 2 properties every single year. When you're at 20 years, you're acquiring 3 or 4 properties every year. And then by the time you get to 30 years, it's like, oh my God, I've got 50 houses. And I only started with 1, and it took me 5 years to get that.
And you'll notice as well, in those early modest years, that's where a lot of people start to waver and kind of, because they're not patient enough to wait on the results further down the line. They want it now, and that's where, and they'll start looking at other things and take their eye off what's working, and that's where it all falls apart.
There's no long-term vision, is it?
Mm-hmm.
There's no long-term foresight or vision out of that. They don't understand. They don't actually. They lose focus on the end result, or did they actually think about the end result in the beginning, or did they just listen to other people saying that, within 5 years you'll be rich? And that just doesn't happen. This is why long-term investors frequently achieve outcomes that appear disproportionate to their original contributions.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this. 144,000, 2,880 invested over 50 years at 10% return. The government gives you 20% back, which is a low rate, up to 3,600. They top it up to for 50 years, 10% return, 144,000 put in. Government puts their bit in, it goes up to 180 grand, and over that time you make 4.6 million at the end.
That's crazy.
What? How is that? This is why people find bank accounts from years later, and it's passed on. The hunters, the people that look for all these people to inherit money. I can't remember what they're called that are on the telly, and they go the show.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's like they've got the show, and then they turn up on somebody's doorstep and go, "Are you Jeannie from like so and so? And was your great uncle Albert from so and so? And was his date of birth that? And is that a picture of him? Ah, it is. It's like, well, he had a bank account which had £1,000 in 50 years ago, and now it's worth 150 grand.
Yeah.
What? And that's what it is. It's the compounding effect and the returns, and it just keeps going in. And it's the return on the first £1,000. It's the return, small return you're getting on every single investment. It's returning after that. So you get 10% on £1,000, which is £100, but then you're getting 10% on the £100 next year and 10% on the £1,000, and then the following year getting 10% on. See how it works.
And it keeps doubling, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. And the next minute it's like, oh my God, how did it get to that level? So what are the key points we need to learn out of this then, Richard? What do we need to know?
Yeah, well, we've obviously established that your returns could obviously generate additional returns, like you just say, returns on returns and things. And the compounding becomes more powerful with, of course, the influence of time. And in order to have that, your patience is really essential for that to work properly.
Yeah. So here is the fact. Many successful investors accumulate a large proportion of their wealth during later stages of their investment journey. And it's purely down to the fact that the compounding has sufficient time to work. That's it. It's that simple. This is why I say to most people, you could work a normal job, invest in a side hustle, which is your pension effectively, and invest it wisely in a low-cost pension with a decent return, and you'll be financially free when you retire. You will never need to work again. You will be able to pass on wealth. You will be able to buy that house for your children because you will have done something right. But more importantly, you'll have probably learned the same lesson for your children, and your children from birth will have got that. So by the time they retire, they'll be more successful than you.
Yeah, and that's because you've given them that head start.
Yeah. So compounding rewards 3 things: time, consistency, and more importantly, patience. Patience is key here. You have to understand. Stop looking at your investments every day. It's a long-term thing. So what is the point of looking at them every single day? Just to see where they are? It's like people that never sell their house. Oh, check the value of my house today. I'll check the value of my house. But why? You're never going to sell. So why are you checking the value? Oh, I'd just like to know. But
Yeah,
for what reason? There has to be a reason behind that, or you're just checking for the sake. But then that leads to temptation, doesn't it? That's what this is what I talk about patience. And it's like, don't touch.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. This is like the adage in the Japanese factory. It had all the robots and everything like that, and they had all the robots working efficiently, and they had a dog there, a guard dog, and they had a guy to feed the guard dog, and they went, oh, you've got a guard dog there. I take it the guy's meant to be feeding the guard dog and all the rest of it. And they went, yeah, and says, but why you got the guy just feeding the guard dog? Why? Because we don't want him to touch the machine. The guard dog's there to stop him from touching it because it works perfectly well. Yeah. Says so, but somebody has to feed the dog, don't they? So they have to be there for that reason. So it's not the guy, it's the most important thing in that equation. It's the dog to stop the guy from touching anything. Because,
to disrupt the process.
Yeah, honestly, we're humans. Would just like to get involved in something, even though it works very well without us. Extremely well without us.
Yeah. So as we talk about compounding and really understanding compounding, it highlights then the true cost of delaying your investment decisions, and that's where I like to come and talk about.
What is the hidden cost of delay then?
Yeah. So every year that people spend waiting as a year that you cannot then contribute to the future growth, and that's ultimately inhibiting your compounding ability. And the cost of delay is often invisible initially. Do you know, and it's not until later on that you realise how much that delay has cost you, because investors can easily identify, possibly like market losses, or but they rarely sit and calculate the growth that they could have occurred if they'd invested earlier. And it's not until it's too late that they realise that. And that's when the missed growth really represents that significant opportunity cost that we were talking about.
The longer the delay, the less time investments have available to benefit from compounding and long-term market growth. I still don't understand why people do not understand this. Do you think it's because it is so simple?
Yeah, I do. I do think that people don't believe. There's a wee bit like disbelief in it can't be like that's not how easy it should be.
Can't be that easy. You're right. It can't be as easy as that. It's got to be really difficult to do this. It's like, no, it's not difficult at all. Compounding wealth over the long term is pretty easy as long as you get a proper, index fund, blue chip stocks, low cost entry, low cost admin fees every year, and just let it do it. Let it work its magic, for goodness sake. What are the key points we need to learn out of this then, Richard?
Yeah, again, obviously delayed investing can reduce your growth potential, as I just said, but lost years cannot be recovered, and it's like time. Once it's past, it's past. And also with time, inflation continues over time, regardless of what your investment decisions are. Inflation can be, yeah.
This is quite interesting, and you've hit the nail on the head. And this almost might sound repetitive because it does. And I don't have any apologies for it being repetitive, because it is so important to keep. I mean, Tony Robbins talks about it. Repetition is the mother of all skill. And if you've not got it yet, you need to hear this message again. Compounding is the biggest wealth generator you'll ever have. It's time is on your side. And I spoke to someone about this today, and they went, "Oh, well, it's a bit too late for me." I go, "You got kids?" Well, it's no too late for them. So see how we don't think about that? It's like, no, invest for your kids then, if that's the case. It doesn't need to be a lot. Doesn't need to be a lot. The greatest investment cost is often not what you lose, but what you were never allowed to gain for yourself.
Yeah, which you kind of held yourself back from gaining.
Yeah, it is. If time is such a valuable asset, when you think about it, this is quite important. What prevents investors from then using it effectively then?
Yeah, because if we're saying time is the key, then why is everybody not using it effectively, like you say? And it's down to these things that the thieves of time, the things that steal time. And investment success is often determined by, much of the behaviour by an investor and what investment selections they make. So the choices that you make can take time away or make time work for you.
Well, you've nailed it when you talk about that, but I think the thieves of time come down to things like distractions.
Yeah,
distractions.
And
this is the shiny penny. This is the shiny penny thing. It's like, we see it on Instagram, we see it on TikTok. It's like, oh, you could have this, but you've got to think about if you're spending. Let's talk about spending. If you're spending your money, because you're not investing it, it's like, oh, a Gucci bag. It's like, a Gucci bag isn't an investment, by the way. It's like, it's an overpriced bag. Let's be honest. It's got some sort of attachment. It's worth a lot more than just a normal bag. Oh, but you've not seen the stitching. And look at the pattern. It's so beautiful. I could go down the market at the Barrowlands and get that.
That's funny you're talking about the Barrowlands market. I was looking at that the other day because there's a place I wanted to go and look at.
Fraction of the cost, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like you could just pretend you've got it, and it's like, but nobody else will know. Nobody else will know anyway.
No.
It's like and when they look at you anyway, they don't care. When you're driving about in a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or any car like that, a Rolls Royce or whatever it is, like, what do you think people think about you? I don't know, because I'll never.
I think there's a mix. There's a mix there, because some people might think, oh, they've got a lot of money, or oh, they think a lot of themselves, or there's a few different perspectives that people.
Or some people might think dick.
You're in a yeah. There's a few different perspectives there.
But that's, it just depends what you want out of life, I suppose. And there'll be people out there that actually say, well, you only go around once, you're not coming back. You could die tomorrow, you could be run over by a bus. It's like, yeah, that's typically the people that squander all their money and have no investments at all.
Mhm.
If anybody is ever going to say that advice to you, ever, the first thing you should do is work out where they are financially on a wealth chart, right? Work out where they are. And if they're wealthier than you, then, and I don't mean earning more than you, if they're wealthier than you, then take their advice, because they must be doing something right, and you'll get up to that level.
I think
If
as
they're
well,
not-
when you hear,
If they're not as wealthy as you, then you probably shouldn't be listening to them, because you don't want what they've got, do you?
but when you hear people say things like that, unless they've built something that allows them to afford that kind of lifestyle. But if you're not, then if they're advising you to do that, you're going to be doing it then what? By accumulating debt. So then what are you leaving behind? A load of debt? Or are you leaving back a legacy of, your investments?
Yeah, definitely. So many investors understand the importance of time, but struggle to remain committed to the long-term strategies. I think that is key here. It is so difficult for a lot of people to see long-term. They tend to, and everything geared in our society to think short-term, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole political system short-term. Everything is about what we're going to do in the next 4 to 5 years.
4 to 5 years, yeah.
Not about what is the long-term projection, long-term planning. So if somebody else needs to take over, then they've got to take over that. No, it's like, we'll do 5 years, and if we've got a mess at the end of it, then somebody else could mop up that mess. And then all that time spent on mopping up the mess from the 5 years before, that they've not got a chance to even get round to their 4 or 5 years they've got in themselves. And that's half the battle. And that's why they all keep blaming each other. So it's a struggle to remain committed to long-term strategies. I think the other things is fear, impatience, emotional decision-making, frequent and interrupt investments process. It's fear. It's like, oh my God, the market's going up. Should I really invest that money just now? This is why it's so important just to do it every month, the same amount, and just forget about it. The only time I would ever consider investing, right? I've done it every single month, and I did it for the kids, and I'm still doing it just now. But the only time I would say, think about investing is if there's trouble ahead, as if something is everybody's running for the hills and the markets are dropping as a result. That's the only time I'll be going to my kids and sit and saying, and I do, and I sit and say to them, maybe now is the time to top your investment up to the maximum amount.
If there's something out there that's getting everybody uneasy and ruffling feathers, there's an opportunity somewhere in that.
Blood on the streets.
Yeah.
Short-term reactions can reduce the benefits, though, that time and compounding are designed to provide. It is that volatile situation, like something unexpected has come up, and you've got to be disciplined enough. Discipline is key here. You've got to be disciplined enough to say, no, I will not touch that amount. Because remember what you're sacrificing. This is the old thing I said about Standard Life, where somebody tries to think about cashing their policy in a year before it's due to mature, and they're losing almost about 50% of the value for that reason, because they just see the 20 grand. They don't see the extra 10 grand they're going to make the next year with the bonuses and accumulation and wealth as a result. Yeah. They just see 20 grand in hand right now. Kind of like, and they look at it as a gamble. You know how you've got the game shows, it's like, oh, better with 20 grand in your hand than trying for the 40, because you might lose the whole lot. But in that instance, you're not losing the whole lot. You've already got the 20 grand. It's always there. This is why when I invested originally, I didn't cash my policies in. I just used them as collateral to get 100% lending.
Yeah, to leverage, yeah.
Yeah, because I knew at that time I was guaranteed to be paid that amount if I cashed it in. So I took that to the bank, that letter, and I said, if I cash this in 5 years from now, I'll still get that amount guaranteed at this point in time. I'll probably get more in 5 years because it'll have added on to it with bonuses. But that's what I'm getting at this point. And they went, oh, we'll give you 100 grand lending then against that 20 grand you've got. I went, perfect. Fantastic. Can I just start buying now? Yep, absolutely. And that's kind of what happened when I originally did it. I didn't cash in. So I was making money investing with the money I was making money on with my investment. I was making money on two things with the same money. Great, yeah? See how that works? But that's how people don't understand. Successful investing often requires resisting the urge to react, I would say, to every market movement or headline. Now, I think most people today are active investors have kind of got that just now. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but every time that guy over in USA
opens his mouth,
opens his mouth, the market's not as volatile now as it used to be.
No, because if you turn back time slightly, everything that would influence, but it's changed now.
When he used to say something, when he did his first tariffs, round of tariffs, the stock market dropped by about 1,000 points. Yeah. We, as a family, all invested in index funds. The stock market put more money in, and then 2 months later, it was up 20%.
Yeah.
As a result, because it bounced up again, because everybody was fearful, wasn't buying. The stock market values drop as a result, so therefore you can buy as a result at a cheaper level. So by the time it all recovers, it's done. But I think everybody's got wise of that now.
Yeah, I was just going to say everybody has to have cottoned on to that by now. So but it just shows you initially, though, that was the thought process.
What are the key points then we've got to learn out of this thing?
Well, fear's a big thing, and fear can lead to making really poor decisions if you are fearful and if you let it overtake your decision-making process. That and hand in hand, but obviously your emotional side of, emotional investing can really disrupt long-term plans because you're making decisions based on your emotions and not the numbers and what you've obviously set your investment up to do.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like we say, the discipline yourself, and that supports your long-term success as well.
Absolutely.
If you start deviating for that and not discipline yourself to stick to the plan, that's when your investment will start to waver.
Yeah. So time is most effective when investors allow it to work uninterrupted.
Yeah. Don't touch it.
The good news is, though, that making time work for you doesn't require really a complicated strategy. It's that simple.
No, and I think when we talk, we're talking a lot about time, and maybe people might be quite confused. But how do I make time work for me? And it's just allow it to do its thing and be patient and make time ultimately your partner in investing. Many successful people, when they're doing their strategies and things, they build in a small number of kind of simple principles. And I'm sure you've done this as well, Jim.
Yeah.
And investment success is rarely the result of, constant activity. And it's like what you say all the time, Jim, boring pays well. Once you set something up and it's working, leave it.
Yeah, leave it alone. Don't think about it. Put it out of your head. And then in 50 years' time, or 20 years' time, or 30 years' time, then you're going to come back to it and go, wow. I mean, clearly, obviously, keep an eye on what's happening. I mean,
you need to have something.
If you're investing in, if you're uniquely investing in companies that you think are worth because you're an active investor, that is a different mindset. If you're a passive investor, what I mean is just picking a fund with a low-cost company like Vanguard or Standard Life or anything like that, and picking a particular fund, so it's got a spread of investments in it, and you're passive about it, then waiting over time is fine. But if you're an active investor and you're picking your stocks, then probably that is the time to think about it. I mean, classic example is things like Kazoo or whatever it is, the car company. I mean, at one point in time that was worth £8 billion. Now it's not worth anything. It's out of business. So if you've obviously got stock in that, then I'm sorry to say it's no longer here. So if you hadn't checked it, I'm the bearer of bad news. And it's the same. It's the same with companies like Purple Bricks. No longer there. Sold for £1, and yet at one point it was sold for an absolute fortune. So these are things you've got to think about. I mean, I wonder what will happen with SpaceX. I mean, that'll be floating soon. So only time will tell about SpaceX and what Elon Musk.
There's a lot of money in there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of money is going to get sunk in from investors that are, believe the spin, And to me, it's like that is not my field of expertise, and to me, that is a risky company, and in my opinion, very overvalued in terms of what it could get. But everybody's looking at the principle that, oh, in the future, all these robots and everything like that, this is going to happen. They're convinced it's going to happen, and I'm like, I'm not convinced in that at all. I'm not convinced that that'll be allowed to happen.
Not anytime soon, I don't think.
Yeah. So, but there'll be a lot of investors' money pumped into it based on the hype and the misunderstanding about what they need to look for, on the principle that, oh, well, compounding over time will make a difference. Well, who says it's going to be here in that time? You never know. That's why I'm not a particularly active investor. I like to be a passive investor. And I like to do the boring pays well and just compound guaranteed. Why do you think Warren Buffett, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Bank of America, Geico Insurance? It's like these are hardcore.
Well, these are all reliable things.
Constant returns, but steady returns all the time. There's a blip now and again with these companies, but over the long term, it doesn't matter. They survive. So the key statement then is out of this. Well, what do you think?
I think more often it's like we say, when making time your partner, it comes from, like you say, consistency, discipline, and your long-term thinking. But when it's investors who start early, they contribute regularly, they remain completely focused on their long-term objectives, and it places themselves in a real stronger position to benefit from the time and the compounding. So that's how you make time your partner in your investment.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, I might make that sound, people might think, oh, you make that sound so straightforward. But it really does just require your patience and commitment.
It is, definitely. I would say definitely patience, commitment. That's what it requires. The key points out of this then?
Yeah, your consistency obviously matters. Your long-term thinking supports much better decisions, and time performs much on the heavy lifting rather than you, if you allow it to.
Yeah, definitely. So the key statement out of this then, for me personally, is consistency over.
Yeah, I think what Jim was going to say there with the key statement is the consistency over the time, the decades, is often more valuable than just instantly over months. It's yes. I knew what you were going to say, but I'm saying it's over time and the decades as opposed to just months.
I've got a visitor.
It's that what it is. I wondered what happened, but
she knocked me out. Yeah, okay. So yeah, you're right. And have we got the transition yet? What we're thinking about? We reached the
so we reached the end of this program today. I think it's quite clear that we're returning to the central idea behind it all, and that's, as I say, the time bomb. I know obviously we shouldn't be saying that word too much in case we get knocked off, but that's ultimately what we are referencing to with that title and with everything we spoke about today, the importance of time, really.
But the clock, the final countdown of this is the clock is ticking, whether we act or not. It's this is coming up for 60 minutes. So if you've not invested, you've lost 60 minutes of time. If you're seeing this for the first time, then you should act on it straight away.
And people might think, well, I've just spent 60 minutes listening to you, and might not think it's beneficial, but you maybe now have a better grasp on how to utilize your time.
Yeah, definitely. The years ahead will pass regardless of market conditions, remember, economic forecasts or political events. Time will still go. You won't be able, you can't stop it. It will pass. It's gone. It's gone. It's that 10 seconds I just said that. It is now gone and you don't get it back. I don't think there's anything else like that. It's now gone and you don't get it back. And you can get money back. You can get your health back because you can get sorted or operations or whatever it is to sort yourself out, medication. but you'll never get time back. There's no such thing. There's no time machine out there. The question you've got to ask yourself, though, is not whether time is moving forward. The question is whether your investments are positioned to benefit from the passage of time.
Right, yeah.
That's what you have to realise. The real time bomb is not the next market correction or economic downturn. It's allowing valuable years to pass without putting time to work. That's the time bomb. I'll say that again. It's allowing valuable years to pass without actually looking at doing anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
You've lost all that time. It's like, what's it like? It's like when somebody looks back on their whole life and they think to themselves, oh, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Same principle, really. It's reflection, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and let's reflect on what we've covered today, because we are approaching that 60-minute mark. But what we've spoke about throughout today's programme, and we've kind of explored what I would say is a really simple principle, and it's time. And time is one of the most important drivers for long-term investment success. Jim, I'm sure you'll stand testament to that all day long. And the fact that it supports the growth of your investment, enables your compounding and provides you with opportunities for recovery from the short-term setbacks, because you're doing it on a larger scale over a long period of time.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that time. The key point for me is time is one investment asset that cannot be replaced. I think that's what people need to do. The sooner it begins working for you, the greater potential impact it makes.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the subject of time, we could spend a lot of time talking about it, because it's so. I think it's so influential in any situation. Do you know, whether it's your life, whether it's your health, whether it's your investments, whether it's your business, you just need to use it correctly. We just spoke briefly before we come on camera about diaries. We were looking at diaries, and we've started to highlight the most important things in our diaries, and then everything out with that. Then it's like, so what are we doing with that time? Is that really necessary? Do you know, making best use of the time? That's
it. It's like, what are you doing with your time? What are you doing with your investments? I mean, what are you investing your time in? Because it's the time. Investing time is a key principle as well as money. What are you investing your time in? Look at musicians. Look at writers. Look at filmmakers. They invest their time to produce a product or a service at the end. People will go on to make even more money out of. So they're investing their time to do that, and that time will compound for them. So see how you don't necessarily need to have money to compound wealth. Time is what compounds. Time is the leverage here. It's not the money. It's the time itself that's leveraged. Yeah. It's making you more valuable. It's adding an appreciation to times compounded over time. That's a bit bizarre. I'm not going to get my head around that, because then I'll be like, well, really? If that glass sits there for 200 years, will it never come to the table? That sort of thing. Yeah? That's a theoretical thing that you discuss when you've had a few pints.
Right. Okay. Let's draw a line under that today. That was a really good show. Thanks for all your input, Jim, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully, the time you've spent listening to us has given you a better grasp on how to utilise your time better. And we'll leave it there today, and you can catch Jim and I on the next show as usual. And until then, I will see you later.
Brilliant. See you later.